No need to waste time. Okay, so just hold on. Okay, so this is it, right? So scalping BTC or scalping ETH, right? We are doing this. We're not trying to be in the trade for a long period of time, right? We're not trying to stay in the trade for just like the way all these other what they call them, swing traders do it. They enter a buy or enter a sell at the top and want to catch the whole move downwards. So once you're scalping, you just want to be in that trade, right? As fast as possible, scalp, make some profit, and you leave the trade. That's what scalping means, right? So this strategy is basically just to help you catch the quick moves and you're out of the market, right? So I'm going to show us the indicators I use as well, right? So normally we actually use the 50 EMA, right? The 50 EMA is what we're actually going to use, but I was actually able to find out another indicator. But first, let me show you how I used to scalp before, right? I was using the moving average, right? Moving average 4, and I was using the exponential moving average 50, right? So I was using these two, and I'm going to show you how I was able to make it better, right? So look at this. So formerly, what I was using was the moving average was 4. The setting was actually 4. And for the EMA setting was actually 50, right? So I'm just going to show you how I was able to use it back then, right? Then I'm going to show you the difference. So how I use this is I wait for the crossing of the EMAs. Now, once we're scalping on the 15 minutes time frame, right? We don't actually use this on the 1 hour. We don't actually use this on the 4 hours. We don't use it on those big time frames. So what we actually do is once we can find a crossing down of this EMAs, once the 4 EMA, right? Once the moving average is crossing down the 50 EMA, we start looking for sell opportunities, right? That's the normal way to use this strategy, right? Sell opportunities. So once it crosses down, sell opportunities, then once you have the red or the 4 EMA crossing up, right? Once it crosses up, you're supposed to be looking for buy opportunities, something like this, right? Something like this area. You're now supposed to be looking for what? For buy opportunities. So I'm going to show you this, the old way I was doing it. This is how I've been doing it for a long time. And you know that once you're trading, you need to actually look for something to save time, right? You need to look for ways to save time for yourself. Like you just need to skip those slow and those things making it slow for you. So this is what I was using. So whenever I saw the red crossing the 4 EMA crossing the 50, I just know that okay, I'm supposed to be looking for sells. Whenever I had the EMA cross up the yellow, I had to start looking for buys, right? So basically, this is what I was doing before until I found out something even much better, right? So the indicator is this. Let me actually look for it. Let me see if I can. I think I have it saved, right? The indicator is this. Look at this. Backtest single EMA cross, right? Take note of the name. Backtest single EMA cross by this guy, Trader, right? So if you wanted to search for it, you just come here, backtest single EMA cross by Trader, click on it, right? And it gives you this. Just look at this. this is what you're going to have. Right. So don't bother yourself about setting it up. I'm going to show you guys how to set it up. And it's very, very easy, right? So once you click on that, you're going to have something like this, right? So you just simply come over to the, settings here, right? So scroll all the way down to the input area, you scroll all the way down to what? Select EMA 1 and 2. So remember, formerly we are using what? EMA 4 or MA4, right? EMA and MA, there's no much difference. Simple moving average, exponential moving average. The deviation is very, very small, right? So you wouldn't even notice it, right? So set the first one to 4 and the second, right? So that is all we are doing. Then the style, right? For the style, you can actually make this one invisible, right? Just turn this one off, the first one, right? So the plot color, you can leave it like, I like this color actually. So you can still leave it this way, right? Your buy signal color, you can make it blue, right? Then your sell signal, you can make it red. So what you're actually doing is that plot background, you turn it off. Trades on charts, you turn it off. And quantity, you turn it off. So this is exactly what we're doing. So this indicator has already given you what? Buy and sell signals, right? The same way Supertrend Scalper sends out what? Notifications through the app. Oh, potential BTC trade idea. You go to your Scalper, you log in, you see BTC buy. Wait for break and close above this or break and close below this. This has already given you an answer to that, right? So now this is what we have, right? This is what we have. So normally how this works is that whenever the market, right? Whenever the market breaks and closes below the EMA, right? When it breaks and closes below the 50 EMA, we always have this, right? We always have this. We always have this notification, right? We would have this notification when the market breaks and closes below the EMA, right? If it breaks and closes below the EMA, we'll have what? Sell. We always have a sell notification. Now, if you look at this area, when we had a buy notification, what happened? The market broke and closed above the 50 EMA, right? The market broke and closed above the 50 EMA. So we now had what? A buy what? A buy signal. Sorry. A buy signal. I'm going to teach you guys how to set indicators and alerts on a trading view. When there's a potential buy trade, how it's going to notify you. When there's a potential sell trade, it's also going to notify you. So it's just like you have your own scalper, right? It's just like you have your own scalper. So basically, this is how it works. So you need to understand that if the market is buying above the moving average, it's a potential. Please, where's the 4 EMA? I hid it, right? It doesn't need to show, right? If you want to keep yours showing, you can leave it showing. But I don't like showing mine. So look at it. Look at it, yes. It's still the same thing, right? It's still the same thing. Crosses up, a buy alert comes. Crosses down, a sell alert comes. So I don't like showing that, right? I just like my chart clean, right? So if you want to keep yours on, you can actually keep yours on. So basically this is what happens, right? So once you have the market buying above your EMA, right? Once it's above your EMA, all we are supposed to be looking for is what? Buys, right? Once you have this buy indicator here, you're supposed to be looking for buys alone, right? Just buys. So you're looking for buys up to when you have what? A sell indicator, right? A sell signal. Once you have a sell indication, that is the only time I am looking for what? I'm looking for sells, right? So ever since this last sell came out, guess what happened? the market has been selling. So all we'll be doing is what? We are looking for sell opportunities all the way down, right? So many sell opportunities around all this area, right? So that is that. So this is the only indicator that, shall I say, this is the most important indicator, right? For this training, this is the most important thing we actually need. But before we talk about other indicators, right, I want to talk about support and resistance. Now, I want to understand that a couple of us do not understand support and resistance, but let me just take my time to explain, right? Let me take my time to explain. Now, let's actually imagine or assume we had two lines, right? We had two lines. Now, we're going to assume this is just like we have our houses, right? This is actually, let's actually call this ceiling, right? Ceiling, or you can call it roof, right? Or we actually call it what? Resistance. So I'm just actually trying to do this so that everybody understands. So let me keep this middle center, right? Right, so I'll make this red. Right, ceiling. So guys, can you actually tell me what happens when you throw a ball to the ceiling? What's going to happen? If you throw a ball to the ceiling, what do you think will happen? If you throw a ball to the ceiling, what is going to happen? It's going to bounce back, right? It's going to bounce back. So if I was standing here, right, and I threw a ball to the top, what happens? It hits the ceiling and what? It falls back down, right? That's what is going to happen. It's going to hit the ceiling and it's going to fall back down. So this is what our resistance. This is a resistance. Kunle, you are talking about something different. We are still talking about roof and ceiling. You're asking when to take profit. Please, please, please. That's not to learn, right? When it's time for that, you're actually going to ask that question. We are still talking about support and resistance. You're talking about when to take profit. That's a no for me, right? So if you're actually at the floor, or should I say if you're at the rooftop, maybe you're at the story building, what happens when you throw the ball to the floor, right? Can anybody answer that question? If you throw a ball to the floor, what's going to happen? If you throw a ball to the floor, what is going to happen? It's going to bounce off, right? It's actually going to bounce off. It's going to bounce off. So this is it. This is it right here. So I throw a ball from this same ceiling, right, to the floor. I should be expecting the ball to bounce, right? So that's this only, right? Just by doing this, right? It bounces at this area, right? This area where the ball bounces is our support. This area where the ball bounces is our support. So if you're new to trading, just know that resistance is if the market is going up, right? And it gets to one point and it starts selling. You know that there's something resisting the market from going beyond that area. So that's your resistance. Now, if the market is selling and it gets to a point and instead of it selling, it starts buying instead, right? It bounces off somewhere. That is your support. So if you're new to trading, I think you should actually go back to your videos, go watch out support and resistance, right? That's basic Forex for you, support and resistance. So this is what we simply need when we are scalping BTC, we are scalping ETH, right? But trust me, it's not going to look like this, right? It's not going to look exactly like the way we've drawn it, right? Instead, what you're going to see is the actual market, right? The candlesticks. The candlesticks. These are what you're going to be seeing. So let me take all these, lines, everything. Let me show you guys something. Once you're able to understand the whole concept of support and resistance, then trust me, you can start making money scalping BTC and Ethereum, right? So the major thing is for you to just understand where is your support, where is your resistance, right? So before we go into that, right, we want to, the easiest way to identify this support and resistance zones is by using your line chart, right? For the new people, support and resistance with candles can be difficult to find, right? But once you switch over to line chart at the top here, you can actually switch it to line chart. If you switch it to line chart, you're going to see this, right? So basically what you should be looking out for is something like this. You can see these V's, right? You can see this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It was selling, it bounced, right? Are you seeing this? It was selling, it bounced. It was buying, what happened? It bounced at a point, right? Bounced at some point. This is what we're looking for. This is all we are looking for, right? Remember the last thing I drew, right? The market is buying, it gets to a ceiling, what happens? It starts falling back down. It gets to a floor, what happens? It bounces, right? It starts buying again, right? So basically, the market keeps what? It goes up, it bounces, comes down, it bounces, goes up, it bounces, comes down, it bounces. That is the only thing we're looking for. So with the help of the line chart, you're able to look for these things more easier, right? It's very, very simple looking for these things. So we have a rule, right? When we're actually looking for these touches, right? We have a rule that we must follow, right? So this is it, right? So if we're looking for these bounces, or we call them touch areas, right? Touch point areas, or whatever you want to call it. You want to call it bounce. If you're looking for the bounces, right? In the space of one day, right? In the space of 1 day, you need to actually look for, three touches, right? 3 touches at least to call that place a zone. A resistance. A resistance or support. Right? So in the space of 1 day, you need 3 touches at least to call that place a resistance or support. That is to say, where that bounce happened, right? If I can find up to 3 bounces along that area, I can call that place what? Either a resistance or a support. Now, let me show you guys what I mean by that, right? So one thing I'll need you guys to do as well, right? On your trading view, make sure session breaks are turned on, right? Let me show you what session break is. If you come to settings, right? If you come to settings, come to appearance, you're going to see session breaks, right? So what you can do is you can change the color to something you can see very, very visible. You can change it to black, right? You can make it a line, right? If you want to make it tick, you can make it tick. Something like this. Now, let me show you what this actually does for you, right? Between 1 black line or one session break to the other, right, represents what? Between here to this place represents what? 1 day, right? From here to this point is actually 1 day. It's actually 1 day, right? So that means if I am looking for a support or resistance within 1 day, I should be able to find what? 3 touches at least, or 3 bounces at least. So now if I wanted to look for a support or a resistance around here, right? All I'm looking for is what? Is 3 bounces around the same place. So let's count bounces, right? Look at, this is 1 bounce, this is 2 bounce, right? 2 bounces, 3 bounces, there's even 4, right? You can see that there are bounces around there. So if I draw a horizontal line on these bounces, right? Look at, let me zoom in very, very well so that you can actually see it. Can you look at this? This is 1. Sorry, let me use this instead. This is 1, right? This is another one. Look at, this is another one here, right? 3 bounces, right? This one is also here. So we got about 4 bounces. So I can tell myself that this place is a good support area, right? This place is a good support area, right? So if we're actually looking for a resistance area within the space of what? Space of 1 day, right? Resistance is always at the top. So that means at the top again, I should be looking for what? I should look for minimum 3 touches or 3 bounces. So if I check the top, right, or anywhere within this session break to this session break, I'm looking for 3 touches, right? I can actually find one here, right? If I keep my cursor here, this is another area, right? Why am I actually making this area this? Look at a touch here. 1, look at, this is another one. This is 2. This is what? 3 and 4. There are 2 touches here. So I can tell myself that this is what? This is a resistance, right? Now what happened? The market was coming down from what? A ceiling. It got to what? A floor. It bounced up. It bounced here again. What happened? It kept bouncing here because that is support, right? That's a support. And what happens? It goes all the way to the ceiling. It bounces up. What? It goes up there, it bounces up before it finally broke through, right? So that's just the basic thing I need you guys to look out for, right? We are just looking for places where the market is bouncing. So in the space of 1 day, right? If we are looking at this in the space of 1 day, we are looking for what? We're looking for 3 touches minimum, right? So you see that we look for this thing in the space of 1 day. If you look at the dates, this is 9th April to what? To 10th April. In the space of this day, this is what we looked out for. So when we're actually scalping Bitcoin, scalping Ethereum, this is basically what we're looking for. We're not looking for all the trend lines, all those plenty things. You need to keep it simple. And once you keep it simple, that's how you make the money for real. So that's basically all we are looking for, right? So I'm not looking for plenty things. We're not trying to complicate things for ourselves, right? So now let's actually dive into the main thing. Let's actually dive into the main thing. All right, I've already done this training. Right? I did a training on this before, but that was with Scalper and Scalper, but it's still the same information, right? But this one is just that we're using just TradingView for it. So for a market to what? For the market to buy, what does it need to do? right? If we're looking for a buying opportunity, let's say we got a buy signal. What are we looking for? We are looking for the market to do this, right? The market is going to make this move. If we're looking for a buy, this is what we should be looking out for, right? We're looking for the market to find what is ceiling, right? Or a resistance. We're looking for 3 touches and what? When we actually enter for a buy is when the market finally breaks through the ceiling, right? Breaks and closes above the ceiling. So when we are talking about break and close, you're going to see something like this, right? Let's say this is your buy candle, right? You're going to see something like this. You're actually going to see something like this, right? So you need to see the buy candle break out of that resistance area, right? Close above here, right? So at the close of the candle, that is what? That is your entry. Please, this is more intense. Sisi, just calm down. You're going to understand, right? You know simple support and resistance now. This shouldn't be intense for you. I mean, you're a good trader, so why you tense? So you're simply looking for what? Break and close. Break and close. So in the essence, right, we're just looking for what? 3 touches. Once we identify 3 touches, we draw a line there, right? You draw a line there, that becomes your resistance. So as far as what happens, as far as your indicator, right, is telling you what? It's telling you to buy at the bottom, right? As far as you have what? As far as you have this, as far as you have a buy, right? And the market is above your EMA. Let me just draw this. Let's say this was our EMA, right? Whatever color you want to make it, right? If this was our EMA, right? And the market is above, definitely we're going to get a buy signal. So all we are doing is we are identifying 3 touches within a day, right? Once we find three bounces, we draw a line there. That is our resistance. And we wait for markets to do what? To break and close above the resistance. And we take a buy, right? So that's the simple thing, right? So this is for a buy. Now, on the other hand, right? Let me actually just show us for a sell, then I just show us examples real quick. It's not difficult, right? So on the other hand, this is what we're looking for, right? If it's a sell, we're looking for what? Bounces at a support, 3 touches, right? If there's 3 touches at a support, right? And we finally get a break and close below, right? For the sell, you're going to have your candle looking like this. You're going to have your candle looking like this, right? Break and close, right? So if you have a break and close, then what? We're looking for sell. We want to catch this sell move down, right? So for this one, this is what you're going to be having. For this one, you're going to be having this. You're going to be having sell. With that indicator I just showed you guys, you're going to be having something like this, right? So sell is going to pop up and your moving average this time around is going to be on top the market, right? The moving average is going to be on top of the market. Who understands it to this point? Who actually understands it to this point before we go and look at the main chart? It's simple, right? If you take your time and watch the previous training, then come back and watch this one, you're actually going to understand it. It's very, very simple, right? We're looking for a break and close. For the market to buy, it has to break a ceiling and keep buying. You know that if something is resisting the market from buying, right? Once it gets to the ceiling, it's going to sell again, right? So we don't want to take those kind of trades. We don't want to try and buy and what the market sells instead. For us to actually buy, we need that market to break through a resistance, right? Once it breaks through a resistance, the candle closes. That is when we can now take our buy. Now, the same thing with the sell. If we are selling, we don't want a support to disturb us, right? We don't want a floor to disturb us. We want the market to break through that floor, close below that floor, right? So that it can keep selling. Do you get? Once it closes below that floor, is there a floor blocking it again? No, there's no that floor again. So that is the move we want to actually catch, right? So this is the basic thing we just want to try and do, right? So I'm going to put on what they call it. Okay, before I put that on, let me just show you guys this. Let me see if I can show you guys this real quick. Okay. Okay, so just look at this. Look at this picture. Take a look at this picture. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you guys see it? Hold on. Let me see. All right. So let me share again. Let me see if you guys can see it. Screen right. Right. So tell me if you can see my screen. All right. So this is exactly what I mean, right? So we are looking for the market to, this line represents what? A resistance or a ceiling once we're buying. So we're looking for the market to do this, to break out of that ceiling, right? Or that resistance. By the time the candle closes, right? And it's forming another candle, that's when we're supposed to take what? A buy, right? So we simply take a buy on the close of this candle. Now, same thing for the sell. If we're looking for a sell, we are looking for the market to break through a support or a floor. So once the market breaks through and closes, what do? We enter for a sell, right? So the TP, the SL, I'm going to teach you guys how to calculate that. But for now, this is what we are actually talking about, right? So let me clean this up and we look for examples, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewind the market back to somewhere here, right? I'm going to rewind the market back to somewhere here. So we are going to take a practical example. I'm just going to show you guys how this actually works, right? So let me zoom out a bit. Let me zoom out a bit. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Right, so currently we had a buy signal, right, before, right? So let's say we're actually watching the market, right? I'm going to teach you guys how to mark up buy zones, how to mark up sell zones. I'm going to teach you how to do basically all that. So let's say the market was actually moving. Let me change it back to candlesticks, right? So that you guys actually see what is really happening. Okay. So now look at this. So let's say the market was actually moving and we got a sell signal, right? The market is moving. Just look at this. The market is actually moving. So when we get a sell signal, we are going to like identify what? The nearest support zone or the nearest floor the market has to break for us to enter that sell trade, right? So just look at this. The market is still a buy signal, right? So let's take a sell example. Then I'll just show you how to mark up your zones real quick. Okay, so once we get a sell signal, remember, for you to get a sell signal, the market has to break below the EMA, break and close below the EMA. So once we get a break and close below the EMA, you're going to see a sell. Just watch this. You're actually going to get a sell soon. Okay, so let me speed it up a bit. Right, so just pay attention, just watch what the market is doing. Boom. So I'm going to pause this, right? So can you see what happened? Right, we actually got a sell alert, right? So now, guys, for the market to keep on selling, what does the market need to do? Who can answer? For the market to keep selling, what does the market need to do? What is it trying to break? Is it trying to break a ceiling or is it trying to break a floor? For the market to keep selling, is it trying to break a ceiling or is it trying to break a floor? Floor, right? So it's actually trying to break a floor. Floor, everybody agrees we're trying to break the floor. So once I see something like this happen, right, I go back and switch to what? Line charts, right? I go back and switch to line charts. So now, this is where this present day started, right? I'm looking for a floor. Remember, if you're selling, the market is above, the floor is what? Beneath that point. So I'm looking for somewhere to mark beneath that area. I can't seem to find anyone, right? So what I currently do is, if I can't find any in day one, right, I go back to what? I go back to day two. So now, once I've gone back to day two, I'm no longer looking for what? Just 3 touches. Now, what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for up to 5, right? I'm looking for up to 5 to 8 touches, right? Minimum 5 touches, right? If I can get anywhere between 5 to 8 touches, right, I can mark that area as a good support or a good floor. So now, if we go back, right, if we actually go back, this is the second day, right? I'm looking for floors, right? So if I look here, I have a floor, right? If I look here, if I draw my line here, look at, if I draw my line here, I have 1 touch here, right? Let me just use this. I have 1 touch here. Sorry. Let me just make this good. Okay. So I have 1 touch here, right? So this is 1 touch, right? If this is a touch, right? This is 2. Sorry, let me just make it better. Okay, so this is the second one. So these 2 touches, if I move all the way to this side, this is 3, right? I've gotten 3 touches. If I come all the way to this area, you're going to see more touches here. See a touch here. See this area. Market bounced around this area. This is what? Look at this area again. Look at this area. You also have more touches around here, right? So this is another touch area. Look at, there are several touch areas around here, right? So 5 to 8, we got 1, we got 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, there's 8, there's 9, there's 10, 11, right? We have multiple touches. So I can tell myself that, yes, this is a support zone, right? This is a solid support zone. Now, what do I need the market to do? I need the market to break and close beneath the support, right? I need the market to break and close beneath this area. So this is what I'm looking out for, right? So my support is now what? Let me make the support color what? Green, right? Let me make it green, right? So this is my support. So I am not getting in on a sell till I see the market break through this support and it closes below the support. So if I was to play this, right, this is what we'll get, right? So if I was to play this, this is it. Are you seeing this? Boom, right? Are you seeing this? Look at this. The market broke and closed here. This candle. So where is my entry? My entry is on this other candle. My entry is on this next candle, this next one. That is where I enter for a sell, right? So this is for Ethereum, right? This is for ETH, Ethereum, right? So in Ethereum, right, when you're actually calculating your TP, right, when you're calculating your stop loss, all you're doing is you're adding 30, right? TP1 for Ethereum while you're scalping with this strategy is 30, right? You add 30 to your entry. So, like sell, right? When you're selling, the market is going downwards. So your TP is at the bottom, right? So you're going to minus 30 for a sell, right? If the market is above, you're going to add 30. So the entry is what? Sorry, someone was trying to call me. All right. So the entry is what, right? The price here we got is what? Let's say we actually entered on, let's say we entered on this candle for real, right? Let's say we took our entry on this candle, right? The entry is what? Is 3450. So 3450 minus 30 is what? What is 3450 minus 30? 3450 minus 30. Who can answer that? 3420, right? So my TP should be around what? 3420. TP1. Right? TP1 should be around 3420. Right? Let me make this green. So now stop loss is what? Plus 30 above my entry price. Right? Since we are selling, stop loss is going to be above my entry price. Now, your calculation is based on MetaTrader 4, right? Once you see a break and close, you go to your MetaTrader, you click on what? The sell button. Now, once you click on the sell button, you actually got there as your entry. That is what you are going to what? Subtract from, right? Everybody's entry can be the same. Yes, it can be the same if you actually spot it earlier. But if your entries are different, in fact, your entry cannot even be the same. It can be 3450.40. This person's own can be 3450.20, different things, right? All you should know is that your TP1 is minus 30, right? Then your TP, your stop loss should be above, right? So 3450 plus 30 is 3480, right? So your stop loss should be around here, 3480, right? So I'm going to make this red to indicate stop loss, right? So let's actually see if the market sold all the way to your TP, right? So let's see what happened. I entered on this candle. It hasn't come to our stop loss, right? Let's see what happens. So this is TP1, right? So it's dancing in profit and out of profit. It's almost close to our stop loss. Okay, so this is basically it, right? So you almost got to our TP and boom, TP hits, right? TP hits here. This is where the TP hits, right? So you actually see that your trade would have hit TP, right? TP1. So that is basically what we are doing, right? So we're just looking out for break and close below, you take the trade. Your stop loss is what? Plus 30. Your TP1 is what? Minus 30. So if you wanted to get TP2, you remember in the rule of trading, your risk to reward should always make sense, right? So you should have a risk to reward of 2. So if I'm talking about TP2, that means it should be 2 times of what? My TP1. So if we are able to subtract 30 for TP1. What are we going to subtract for TP2? Times 2, right? So my TP2 is going to be what? Entry price minus 60, right? Entry price minus 60 is going to give my TP2. So my TP2 should be somewhere around, let me see. My TP2 should be somewhere around here. My TP2 should be somewhere around here, right? Around this area. So let me draw this line here and let's actually test it out, right? So this should be my TP2, somewhere around this area, right? So if I was still riding for TP2, right? Let me just play it and let's see what happens, right? But one thing you should notice is whenever your trade hits TP1, right? It's always advisable to move stop loss to break even. I don't know, the new people, you might not understand. Just change your stop loss number to your entry price number. That's what break even means, right? So if you wanted to hold on for TP2, right, you would have held on the trade, right? Held on to the trade. So eventually we hit what? We still hit TP2, right? Eventually we still came here, we smashed TP2. So that's basically what I do, right? That's what I use. This is everything I use. Just scalp, sell, scalp, buy. So if it was a buy example, right? If it was a buy example, we'll be doing the same thing, right? So if you get what? If you actually get a buy signal, you should now be looking for what? A resistance, right? A ceiling where the market would have to break for it to keep buying, right? So if we were to take this buy example, this is what we would have done, right? So I'm going to also replay for the buy, right? So let's go back, let's replay for the buy. So let's say we actually got the buy indicator, the buy indication here, right? Let's assume we didn't mark up this floor, right? I'm just going to show you guys examples and we are going to do it together, right? Maybe we could find a potential trade idea. So we actually got a buy signal, right? We actually got a buy signal, right? We got a buy signal. So for us to enter this buy, we needed to break through a resistance, right? We need to break through a resistance. So in the space of 1 day, right, we're looking for 3 touches. So looking at this, I can already tell you where my resistance is going to be, right? Look at this. I have 1 touch here, I have 2, I have 3, I have 4, 5, 6, just in the space of 1 day. So I'm actually going to draw what? I'm going to draw my line there, right? I draw my line there. This is my resistance, right? So what I'm doing is what? I'm waiting for the market to break and close above my resistance, right? So if I play this, this is what happens. I'm looking for break and close, right? Don't be tempted to rush in. You must see the candle close above. Exactly. Look at this candle. See what happened right here. This candle broke and closed above, right? So I'm entering a buy on this next candle, right? I'm entering a buy on this next candle. So let's say this is where I entered my buy, right here, right? Let me make this black. So my buy entry was what? 3515. So if we're buying, my TP is going to be on top. So if I add plus 30 to it, it's actually going to be what? 3545, right? So 3545 should be somewhere around where? Around here. So this should actually be my TP1, right? This should actually be my TP1. So now my stop loss is actually minus 30. So 3515 minus 30. Who can help me out with that? 3515 minus 30. I think that's 3485. Right, 3485. That should be it. Has anyone done a calculation? Has anyone done? Yeah, 3485. Right, I was correct. So 3485 should be my stop loss. Right, somewhere around here. Let me just take it down a bit. 3485, somewhere around there. Not trying to be perfect, right, with it. So let me use this, right? So let's say I bought here, right? I'm targeting what? Targeting this area. My stop loss is here for TP1, right? So let me actually play it and let's see what happened to this trade. Whether it came back to hit stop loss or it came back to hit take profit. Look at. All right, so this is it. Right, so you see the EMA is below, right? So you see, we got close to TP. Did that thing hit TP or it just wicked around there, right? But this is basically it. Let's see what happens. This thing came around the TP and just like bounced off. Let me see what happened. Right, so it's back in profit, right? It's back in profit, and if I extend this, did this thing actually hit our TP? I don't know if I should call this a TP hit. Okay, finally, yeah, we still hit TP, right? We still hit TP, right? You can actually see that, okay, it wicked around here, came back down, but we still had TP hits around this area, right? Now, in some cases, you're gonna have a hit stop loss, but fine, trade, it's okay for you to have your trades hitting stop loss as well, right? So when it hits stop loss, what do? Wait for another opportunity, right? Wait for another break and close. That's what you just do. Just wait for another break and close. Wait for another entry. You try it out again, right? Don't see trade opportunities like this as, oh, what happened? It broke and closed. It must go up, right? Then what happens? You see the market pulling back. Instead of you to leave your stop loss here, you start shifting it down, right? Don't be that kind of person that does that, right? Don't shift your stop loss down. Just allow it. If it's going to hit stop loss, let it hit your stop loss, right? You already know you're going to lose what? $3. If you're using XNext, if you're using Hugo's Way, you're going to lose $10, which is very okay, right? You have multiple times to try it out again, right? So look at, we sniped what? We killed the buy, it hit TP. Now what happened? Sell alert came out. Now, if we keep on playing, what happens? Right? We're about to catch another break and close, somewhere around here, right? We caught the break and close for the sell, right? And we wrote this what? We held the sell trade again. Look at, hit TP1, we still held the trade. It still came down to hit what? TP2, right? So you'd have made $30 on the first trade, made what? $60, right? That is $90 in just 2 trade opportunities. So scalping this thing is all about being patient, watching out for your break and close, checking out for your touch areas, and once you can identify all these things, that's it for you, right? It's very, very easy for you to spot it out, right? So I don't know if you guys want me to call out a potential trade idea on ETH, then we go to BTC. I just show us an example, then I send out videos that are basically going to help you guys understand, right? I don't think I really need to go in depth to it because We've already done a training before. I think the videos are still there. So do you want me to actually, do you want us to actually go through a potential trade idea? Then I show you guys how to set up alerts, right? Once this gives us a sell, you're going to be notified on TradingView. You're going to get a notification that, oh, BTC is potentially selling, right? If it's a buy, you're going to see potential buy, all that, right? So I'm going to teach you guys how to set up the notifications. Okay, I think we should do the notifications first before we look for trade ideas, right? So this is what I do for my notifications, right? I don't actually use this, right? So if you want to actually set your notifications, you're going to go back and add the normal moving average, right? The normal one and the exponential moving average, right? After you set your alerts, you can delete it, right? So this is what I'm going to do. So your MA should be set to 4, right? Your MA should be set to 4, and your EMA should be set to 50, right? So once you set it like this is what you're going to do, right? MA 4, EMA 50. Come to this top, right, where it says create alerts. Click on create alerts. Okay, I'm still on replay mode, so let me cancel this. Right, come to create alerts, then do this, right? So since we are on a currency pair, ETH USD, this is what you're going to do. Change this condition to what? MA. When this is what it actually means, right? When the moving average, right? When MA is crossing up what? The EMA, right? When MA is crossing up the EMA, what do we do? Who can answer? If your 4 moving average is crossing up the EMA, the 50 EMA, what are we supposed to do? Or what are we supposed to be looking for? We are supposed to be looking for buys, right? We're supposed to be looking for buys. So it's a buy notification. So we are going to set options. It's not going to notify you only once. You want this notification to keep coming whenever this thing is happening. So you set it as once per bar close, right? Once per bar close. So once you come down to the alert name, this is Ethereum, right? You can just put what? Ethereum ETH buy alert. Then you click on what? Create. So whenever Ethereum, right, has the candles crossing above the 50 EMA, you would always get a notification for buy on your TradingView, right? If you have TradingView on your phone, it's going to notify you for a buy. Now, since we've done the buy, what are we going to do next? We do for sell, right? Come back to create alerts. Now we're going to do MA, right, crossing down the EMA, right? So once we do MA crossing down the EMA, right, we click on once per bar close. What we just simply do here is what? ETH sell. So once it notifies you for sell, what are you coming to your TradingView to do? You're coming to look for a floor or a support. You draw your support, wait for ETH to break and close below your support, enter that sell, right? Minus 30, your TP1 minus 60 for TP2, right? SL 30 plus 30. That's all you're doing, right? Straight to the point. So you're just scalping just like that. You just scalp. If he calls out a buy, what are you doing? If he crosses up, it's going to notify you for buy. Come to your TradingView. You look for what? 3 to 5 touches above the market and the EMA, right? Identify your resistance zone. Now wait for ETH to break that resistance and close above. Take a buy. Set your 30 pips. What? For TP1, 60 for TP2, SL 30. Checking out. That's all you're doing, right? That is everything you are doing. So that's how to set the alert. So what I did is that I set the alert for ETH. I went to BTC, right? You go to BTC, you're going to do the same thing, right? You come to alert again, right? BTC will change here to what? MA crossing up what? EMA. You put it at once per bar close again. You name it what? Since it's buy, we name it what? BTC buy alert, you create it, right? You come back here again, right, to this clock sign. MA, come for what? The sell. We're trying to do the sell this time around. Why is this thing hanging? Okay, just chill. So you do the sell equally, right? MA crossing down, right? Crossing down EMA once per bar close. Then what you do is what? BTC sell alert. So whenever there's a potential sell for BTC, guess what? You're sniping it, right? Whenever there's a potential buy, you're sniping it. Now, let me show you guys, let me walk you guys through how I was able to catch the last sell, the one I dropped on the group yesterday, right? The one I called out on the group yesterday. Very, very simple. So this is BTC. I'm going to show you guys what really happened, right? So let me show you guys this. And okay. So let me replay, right? I'm going to replay from somewhere here. And let's see. So one thing I do is that I mark up zones every single day, right? I mark up multiple resistance zones because I know that if the market breaks this resistance zone, if it's still buying, it will still get towards another resistance zone, right? If it gets here, it breaks this one again, I take another buy. If it buys up to the next one, if it breaks this one again, I take another buy. So that's the kind of way I trade, right? If you want to also do this, like, if you want to also trade like this, you can equally do it, right? All you should do is just learn how to mark up your zones, right? Learn how to mark up zones. So let me show you guys how I took this trade, right? So let's assume there was no support, right? So I'm just going to play this and let's wait for the sell alert, right? So let's wait for the sell alert. Let's assume there was no resistance as well. Let's say I wanted to catch the sell, right? So I got the sell, right? I got the sell alert. And now I wanted to find what? The nearest support area, right? I wanted to find the nearest support area. So all I would have done is I would have changed this to line chart, right? Change to line chart. And I'm looking for what? I'm looking for a support area. So since I can't find a support area in this day, right? On this day, let me just rewind back a bit. So let me take it here, right? Let me take it here. Okay. So guys, I'm almost done. Don't worry. I don't want to stay too long because we already have something like this already. So even without waiting for a sell signal to show up on your chart, right? I think what you guys should learn how to do is what? Just mark up support zones, right? So even without the sell signal coming out, I already know that there is a support zone around this area, right? I couldn't find up to 3 touches here, right? But if I look to my left the previous day, how many touches can I find? Can I find up to 5? Right? If I look to my left, can I find up to 5? If I drop it somewhere around here, right? Can I find up to 5? That's what I'm looking for, right? Most times it doesn't have to look perfect, but the most important thing is that you know what you're looking for, right? So this is 1 touch, this is another one. This is 3, this is 4, 5, this is 6, this is 7. So I can say that this is my support, right? This is my support. So let's actually play it and see what happens. Let's actually play it and see what happens. Boom. Look at this. Break and close happened here, right? Break and close happened on this candle. You can decide to take an entry here, right? I think this is the one that hit stop loss the first time. I'm just going to show you guys what to do when it hits stop loss. So let's say I entered for what? A sell on this candle, right? I entered for a sell on this candle, right? Let me make my entry what? Black, right? So my entry price was 42151.9. Now for BTC, for TP1 is not 30, right? It's actually 300, right? You know that ETH has 4 digits, BTC has what? 5 digits, right? So it's actually 300. So my TP1 is going to be what? 42151 minus 300. So if somebody can help me out with that calculation, just help me out so that we can just add our TP real quick, right? What is 42151 minus 300? So it should be 41851. Am I correct? 41851, right? So 41851, let's say it's around somewhere here. And someone should calculate for the stop loss plus 300. Since we're selling, stop loss is above, right? Since we're selling, stop loss is going to be above. So plus 300 is what? Is 42451, right? 42451. That's our stop loss. 451 is somewhere around here. Let me just keep it here. So 42451 is our stop loss. So let me play this. And I think mine actually hit stop loss the very first time. Okay, it actually hit TP. All right, so sorry, let me rewind again. All right, so let's rewind this. So look at this. Break and close, right? Entered on the next candle. What happened? Came close to stop loss, right? But what happened? This is your TP1, this is your stop loss. It didn't hit stop loss. He actually did what? He actually sold all the way what? Down. He hit TP, right? So he hit TP1. So if I wanted to add what? TP2, right? You know that it's minus 600, right? So TP2 is going to be what? 415 something, 551. TP2 is going to be around here, 41551, right? So let's see if the market actually sold all the way down. So guys, this thing is very, very easy, right? It's not hard. If you actually know, if you actually understand what you're doing, you won't actually find it difficult, right? If you actually understand what you're doing, you won't find it difficult. So this TP2 is around this area. So this is it. We are holding for TP2. We are holding this trade for TP2. Let me make it faster a bit so that we can actually see what happened. All right, so let me take out this. So we are holding for TP2, right? You see, TP hit, right? Came back, hit TP2. So that is basically all you're doing, right? Yeah, because of spread. Exactly, yes, because of spread. But mine hit stop loss because of the spread. So all I did again was what? All I did again was to enter at the break and close of, or the retest, right? Break and close. The market was retested, right? When it came back to retest this support, right? Remember, it broke through the support and it sold for a while, right? It hit stop loss at some point. But what I did was what? I took one entry at this area, right? When it broke out of the support again, I took another entry, hit TP1. Then it came back to retest. As far as the market was still below the 50 EMA, I took another sell and rode it all the way down, right? So if I play this, you're still going to see that BTC kept falling, right? It still kept falling. It has dropped all the way to 39 something. So just look at this. Imagine you caught this trade, you held it down, you'd have caught this sell all the way down, right? You'd have caught this trade all the way to the bottom. And that is it, right? So this trade actually dropped how many pips? It's like 2.9. So you'd have made yourself $29 if you're using XNext, if you're using Hugo's Way. This is like $292 that you'd have made from this drop, right? Depending on your lot size, right? Depending on your lot size. If you're using 0.1 on Hugo's Way, this is already like almost $3,000 you'd have made, right? Just by catching this move. So that is basically how this works, right? Another indicator you can add is your super trend, right? Super trend. I already taught how to use this in the past training, right? I'm just going to add it. I'm just going to show you guys how to use it. So for your super trend, your period, ATRO period should be 1, right? And your ATRO multiplier should be 1 as well, right? So that is it. So for your style, right, you can just turn off all these other things. Uptrend begins, buy, downtrend begins, sell, right? So the only thing you need to keep on is what? Uptrend, downtrend, right? So you need to make sure that if you're waiting for a break and close, if you're looking for a sell, right? If we are supposed to be taking sells and we are looking for a break and close, make sure that your super trend is also indicating what? Red for sell. Like we wanted a break and close from here, right? So it broke and closed, and super trend was what? Red. So that's an extra confirmation that we should take it for what? For a sell, right? If we're looking for a buy, right? If we're actually looking for a buy and it broke out through what? A resistance. Let's say we were looking for a buy at somewhere here, right? Somewhere here. Once it breaks out, right, and the super trend is green, right, that's an indication for what? For what? For a buy, right? So you just calculate your plus 300 pips, right? Calculate your plus 300 pips. This actually hit take profit. I can't remember if I took this trade, right? Can't remember if I took this, but this actually wicked all the way up to what? 1,000 plus pips, right? Your top loss is what? 300. So this actually gave you over 1,000 pips, right? As far as it's showing green, right? So that is basically all we are doing, right? So no need to complicate things for yourself. It's very, very straightforward, right? So I believe that once I send this out, then the other, what do you call it? The other trainings that I've done in the past, it's actually going to make it a bit like a lot simpler for you guys. So setting trading view alerts for your entries, all that, you're going to learn it in the previous video, but this is the main stuff I just want to show you guys. So I think what you guys should do is you watch this one, right? You watch the second one I'm going to drop, right? Triple S strategy. I dropped it before, right? So I'm going to send it out. So that's basically all I wanted to train you guys on. So if you have any question, you can just ask, right? But I'm sure that once you guys watch the recordings, right, you are actually going to get it, right? How much can you fund XNext to trade BTC on XNext? XNext, I would suggest $150, right? $150 gradually grow your account bit by bit. But on XNext, if you're funding that, I wouldn't advise you to start trading with BTC, right? Trade ETH instead, right? For your XNext, be taking trades on Ethereum instead. Then maybe when your account is above 250, you can now start taking BTC trades. FXWay, you can fund $200, $250, right? It's almost the same thing. In fact, $150 is good, right? But start trading with ETH, because ETH, the losses are not with the lot size, right, on XNext, 0.1 is you can be gaining about $10 with your 0.1 on XNext, while on Hugo's Way, right, you're going to be gaining $100. But now think about this. If you're also losing $10 on XNext, right, Hugo's Way, you're going to be losing what? $100, right? But if your stop loss is 30 minus 300, you're actually losing what? $3 on XNext, right? Then Hugo's Way, you're losing minus $30. So that's why I always recommend these brokers that are beginner friendly, right? I use XNext to date, right? It's just that when I take these trades, I know the kind of lot size I'm using to catch the move because of the bigger account, right? So FXWay is too good. If you want to trade cryptos on FXWay, you can do about 150 or you can do 200, right? But if you have less than that, then go for XNext instead. So is there another question? Is there another question? If there's no other question, let me stop the recording, right? There's no other question. I'm going to stop the recording there. Can we use this for gold to break and close? Yeah, break and close, you can use it for gold, but I have not tried this out on gold. To be very, very honest, I haven't tried this out on gold. I think you can try it out, right? Break and close is something that is applicable everywhere. Break and close of structure, yes, it's everywhere, right? But I've never tried it on gold before. I've only been doing BTC, ETH. So if you would love to try it out, I think you can actually try it out, right? So that is that. I'm going to stop the recording now. So I'll send out the recording so you guys